So why did Jeff leave the Overwatch team? I think it's Bobby Kotick and it's Activision Blizzard management. And in this video, we're going to break down what's going on because there's been a bit more information that's come to light. But also, Blizzard have really got to do something about the problem. Well, I say Blizzard, Activision Blizzard have got to do something about the massive stain they've got at the top of the company, which is causing a PR shitstorm anytime anyone searches for anything Blizzard related. And also, this guy, Bobby Kotick, perforates the company in all kinds of different ways. Like, his tendrils are in everything. So if you remove him, you've got a good chance to start again. Now, that's not saying that whoever replaces this guy, if he even gets kicked out, right? But we will talk about that, why it probably is getting closer than it ever has been to him being removed from the board, which would shake things up. Also, you've got to remember that Bobby's also installed most of the people on the board as well. So they would like him because he made them loads of money and he put them in a position to do that. So there's all these kind of complex things going on. However, removing him from the company allows them to reset, allows a new direction to come in. And that's the reason why he needs to go. And that's why everyone is asking for this. But also, it's hamstringing the development of their games. For us, as Overwatch fans, it's basically fucked over the development of Overwatch because it's caused loads of drama. And we've got a situation where Overwatch maybe doesn't have the best hires, the best people in place to make the best content going. And as a result, they're struggling. And me as a gamer, I look across at games like Valorant and I see every skin launch just seems to be better than the next. New content that's coming to the game. Everything is good. Look at Apex, new stuff. Can they attract the developers? Because they don't have EA isn't seen as the big, terrible company it was in the past because Blizzard have overtaken them. And again, that's because of Bobby Kotick. I mean, if you Google this guy's name, you will see just negative PR. Like, something's got to give. Anyway, let's get stuck into the video and let's discuss Jeff, because Jeff left Overwatch. But the question is, why? I want to show you guys this as well. So this is from Tracy, and she says, Kaplan had a vision of Overwatch, or of an Overwatch game with PvE in it from before the original game launched. This makes sense, because remember what Titan was. This was an MMO they were working on, and they sort of salvaged a little bit of that to turn it into Overwatch. But these guys are PvE developers. They're World of Warcraft developers making an FPS game, right? So they're going to want to they want to make PvE stuff. He wanted Overwatch 2 to be a sequel to get non-PvP players to consider trying the game out for the PvE. He felt very strongly about that. Okay, so this is saying that Jeff wanted a sequel, which I think is... I still think it should have been an expansion, so maybe that caused a lot of friction in the team. But it was always going to be PvE focused because he wanted the PvE players to come in, because there's a lot of PvE players out there. Because PvP, let's be honest, is quite daunting when you think about it. It's stressful, it's difficult. Overwatch is a difficult game. So if you're not playing in the arcade modes and stuff, and you've got an actually fully fledged PvE mode, then that's going to be great, right? You're going to attract people who maybe play Destiny or Borderlands and games like that. That's going to be super cool, and it makes the player base bigger. So Jeff always had that in his mind. He always wanted to do that, and that was always the case for Overwatch 2. So it makes you think now, how has this changed now with him leaving? So let's talk about Jeff leaving. So he leaves, doesn't he? And then a month later, we get told Overwatch 2 is going to PvP is going to be 5v5. Okay. And a lot of people are like, was this just a stunt? Is this the new director, the new team going, you know what, we're just going to change it to 5v5? Because it did look very sort of unfinished, didn't it? 5v5 in the early videos that we've seen of it. Unfinished in the sense of they literally decided it a week earlier. That's what it felt like in a lot of cases. That might not be the case. It might be the case. Who knows? But here's the thing, and this is again me giving you guys a little bit of insider information. I know that Jeff designed this stream. Jeff was the one that fought and pushed to do this stream. So I'm not sure if he was involved in 5v5, but if Jeff was pushing to get this stream made, then he probably was involved in 5v5. Again, I don't think we'll ever know if Jeff was pro or against 5v5, but I do know that he wanted to do this stream. And this is why this stream was delayed, because obviously Jeff left, so they had to go back to the drawing board and sort of get Aaron to come in and do bits and pieces and things like that. But then maybe they went back to the drawing board and gone, oh, Jeff's left, we can just do 5v5 now. Again, we won't really know. So this is Tracy Kennedy. She is a producer on Overwatch. We've featured her in a couple of videos. But what's great about Tracy is she speaks her mind and she gives us a little bit of a she peels back the veil as to what's going on inside the Overwatch team. So she says, when the Overwatch directors resigned, they pointedly made comments about the company's cultural issues in their goodbye speeches. Now, what's key about that is so you've got Jeff who left and you've got Chaco who left. Chaco sort of operated behind the scenes. Jeff was the more forward-facing kind of guy, right? We all know who Jeff is. If they're talking about cultural issues in their internal goodbye speech to their team, they are warning them that things have changed and we cannot fix this and we have no hope of doing it. So we're sorry about that, and we believe that we just have to go because we cannot do anything more, and we don't want to stay here and watch things just crumble around us, which is sad. She then goes on to say, the subtext was that ABK's culture is at odds with our team's culture and that they didn't think they could fix it with current leadership. Now, this is something you'll see a lot. There has been nobody on the Overwatch team implicated in any of the harassment that's gone on inside Blizzard. This is because Blizzard, I think I've explained this to you guys before, but I'm just going to do it again, right? So Blizzard runs in teams. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, Team 4, whatever. Team 4's Overwatch. And they basically have their own little building. I think they have the top floor of a building. And that's their little bubble. That's where they make the game. They don't go out and it's not like this. It's not like in a massive studio with all other kinds of people developing different games around them. Yeah, sure, they do meet and talk with each other, but the teams are run by the teams. That's it. That's how they work. A lot of the other teams have sort of give way to what Activision Blizzard wants, but not the Overwatch team. Jeff and Chaco were there, and they were sort of holding back the demands of Activision Blizzard, which, whatever they were, they didn't believe were good for the game. Now, I've met Jeff quite a few times. I spoke to Jeff fairly frequently when he was active in the Content Creator Discord, which is a thing which was set up a couple of months before Jeff left. So they got all the content creators together and sort of you had a chance to talk to developers and stuff like that. But I can tell you this about Jeff. The way Jeff views games is it's art, entertainment, and then it's a business. He couldn't really give a shit about money, right? He doesn't care. He doesn't care what he gets paid. He doesn't care anything about that. What he cares about when it comes to money is making sure his staff get paid the right amount of money, and meaning he can attract good people, good quality employees to the company by giving them competitive salaries. That has not been the case at Blizzard, though, and I know this for a fact. Riot offers much more competitive salaries than Blizzard does. So if you're a developer, let's say you're, I don't know, like an artist or something, and you're like, you know what, I'm a character artist and I'm going to go and get a job and I'm going to get one in Southern California or in California. I don't know where Riot's place is, but I think it's somewhere around in LA, right? Anyway, I think they're fairly close to each other. So you're going to be like, right, do I go to Riot? Who are going to pay me a decent wage that I should be getting, and they've got no like terrible festering shit show of a CEO and like loads of massively negative PR, or do I go to the company that's going to pay me less with loads of negative PR? I think I'm just going to go to Riot. Bye, guys. And then these guys work on Valorant, or they work on something else, and they're not working on Overwatch. That, I reckon, is what snapped Jeff, and he probably just thought, look, you're not giving me the support, so the game is getting worse because of what you're doing to it. So the only thing I can do is leave, because obviously I'm an obstacle to this. And they still want it to succeed, but they can't see a way of working together, so they go. I think. Anyway, that would be my breakdown of that entire situation. Anyway, moving back onto this. So what we get here is a little bit more sort of... So Tracy says... But basically, a guy's asking about Kaplan, right? Going like, yeah, whatever. And Tracy says, the Kaplan I knew was a great guy who hated corporate BS and fought it until the bitter end. So kind of, you know, what I just said there. Then obviously this person says, what is corporate BS? She says, ABK's corporate culture and business pressures to do things he felt would compromise the devs at the game or the devs. So this either means they wanted horrific crunch, right? This probably means they walked in and gone, here's the launch date for your game, do it. And they're like, oh my God, we're understaffed. We don't have enough people to do this. We're overworked. Maybe we've got bad people in as a result of not being able to pay good wages. So their work needs to be sorted out by other members of the team and everything's getting like a ton of friction and whatever. She then says, his philosophy was to shield us from it, and that's why we have a good team we do. But now the toxicity is quite public, and many have left from the shock of it. Again, most likely for reasons that I just explained. Why would you work at a company where the boss is clearly a wanker? Like, you just be like, I'm out of it. This is just not good for your mental health. It's not good for your bank account. It's not good for anything. It's not good for career development. It's like, oh my God, it's just horrific. I just want to end Tracy's sort of segment off on this, so she says, she retweets Jason Schreier, obviously a games journalist working for Bloomberg at the moment, and says, of note is that the longer the cultural divide exists, the more we will lose extremely top-tier talent and the more delayed our games will be. Scapegoating Overwatch 2's delay onto Chaco leaving was disingenuous. It's because in the earnings call, they went, oh yeah, Overwatch 2's delayed because of a change in leadership. It's not. It's delayed because they were unable to get the right people to do the job. They were unable to increase the team size and get good people to come in because they wouldn't come in because they didn't pay them properly. And also, why would you join a company with such horrifically negative PR? This is why the developers they basically want him out. They want Bobby out because he makes the company look shit. It doesn't matter how much money he makes for the company. It's affecting the product of the game. But we will get onto that in a second because it isn't down to the workers. It isn't down to me or you. It isn't down to anybody signing petitions or whatever to get rid of Bobby, right? Well, I'll explain the only way this person would end up going, right? And it's when you piss off other rich people, right? And I'm not talking people who might have a few million quid, which to me would be horrifically rich, right? No. I'm talking people with hundreds of millions. Bobby's a billionaire, so you get the idea. This is a man that paid himself 200 million and fired 200 people in the same year. It beggars belief. Imagine that happening, right, at your company. You're sitting there. Imagine you're Jeff, right? And imagine this is what was happening to him. I want to really get a bunch of new developers in. These guys are awesome. They're the best in their field. No, sorry, Jeff, you can't get these people because we ain't got the money for it. Sorry, mate. And then you open your friggin' newspaper, you look on the internet, Bobby Kotick, 200 million. You're like, this man's a billionaire anyway, and he's getting another 200 mil. Oh, by the way, we're firing loads of staff. It's like, what? Which, by the way, they ended up hiring. They didn't hire them all back, but they started hiring them positions back after they fired people. It must have been frigging absolutely soul crushing to work at Blizzard. All right, so back onto Jeff, right? So it's all well and good us sitting here going, oh, Jeff was a great guy. Jeff was fighting for the team, yada, 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 yada. But the big elephant in the room is this Alex Afrasabi situation, and all the sexual harassment stuff came out after Jeff left. So did Jeff know about this and then just go, oh, I'm going to leave before this just gets worse? Because the game I'm working on isn't getting the help it needs. And I know there's this massive shitstorm coming around the corner, so I'm just going to get out while the going's sort of good. It's not, but I'm just going to leave. That may have happened. I don't think we'll ever really know. But what I can tell you about Jeff, and I'm going to say this with complete confidence, is I've met Jeff a lot of times. I think I've been to like 12 Overwatch events all throughout the world. Jeff is very genuine, or at least he was to me. Jeff also never took part in any kind of social crap. Jeff he treated it like his job. When he was at BlizzCon, he'd be there, he'd walk out onto the stage. I even had the privilege of being with Jeff sometimes before he went out onto a stage, and he just would be like, yeah, so I need to go and do my thing on the stage. It was just like, you're just talking to like a normal guy, and then he just walked out on the stage, did his thing. He'd come back, and then he'd have people with him, and they'd say like, okay, you need to be at this place now and that place. But once he'd done his day of work at BlizzCon, he was gone. You couldn't get in touch with Jeff. He was gone. Yeah, other developers would hang around, and obviously the worst offender was this Alex Afrasabi guy, who Jeff would have worked with, because, I mean, these guys both came from EverQuest, which is a very hardcore MMO, to work on Warcraft, WoW, with Blizzard, right, to make a new MMO. So they would have known each other, and the question becomes like, did Jeff know what this guy was like? Like, you can't work with a guy and not really know what he's like, but, people can hide stuff, and who really knows what was going on? But I don't think, I'm going to say, and I'm going to go out on a limb, I don't think Jeff would have known particularly what was going on. A lot of people do like to say, well, Jeff was the vice president, surely would have known stuff. Jeff wasn't on the board. He wouldn't have been getting reports from HR. Well, no one was getting reports from HR. That's the joke. But like, he wouldn't have really been involved in that, because all Jeff was doing was working on his team. And now if you look at Team 4, and I think this is the only evidence we've really got, nobody has come out from Team 4 and said it's bad or a bad place to work. And nobody at Team 4 has been done for harassment. So surely what Jeff was doing was good. Like, he was working good. He was good, right? That's the only way I can sort of answer that. But of course, we'll never really know for sure. So then we come to April the 20th, 2021. Jeff just leaves Overwatch. It was a pretty bad day for me. I was struggling with, I've got Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, and I wasn't well at that time. It was not a good day for me. And then I opened up my PC. That's the news I'm greeted with. I'm like, what is going on? This is not great. This means the game is obviously in a right bad state if the director leaves. Because if the head of a game leaves, it's not in a good state, right? Things have gone wrong. What's happened? It's not great. Everyone's on a downer. A lot of speculation was thrown around about the way the management could have got rid of him, but I think we've kind of covered that in this video so far, so I'm not going to go over that again. But yeah, we get this. we get a post off Aaron. It's just PR speak. But what I will say about Aaron, again, this is a person that I've met quite a few times before. Aaron is a diehard Overwatch fan. I met Aaron, I remember, with Scott Mercer, and this was during the Echo trip in 2020 in March, when I went in to check Echo out. Just randomly, me and my cameraman, we were just in like a sort of like a little kitchenette area, like a break area in the Overwatch place, and Scott and Aaron just walked around the corner, and they were making themselves a drink and getting some food out of a vending machine and whatnot. And I was like, wow. And we just got to talking about Overwatch, and they love the game. They absolutely love the game. So Aaron knows what he's like. He is going to carry on Jeff's legacy, basically. He's going to still try and be that guy to protect the team and make sure that they've got everything they need to work. But the thing is, he can't surely do that, right? Because Jeff would still be here if he was able to do that, right? So there is going to be some concessions that have been made. But again, we won't know. There may have been major design direction issues as well. Maybe Aaron has better vision than Jeff had, and so Jeff was kicked out and Aaron was installed. Again, we'll never really know unless one of them comes out. But one thing I will say is Jeff is most likely under what's known as an NDA, so a non-disclosure agreement, after he left the company, so he can't actually talk about what's going on in the company. It's like an anti-competition thing, in case he went to another game developer and was like, oh yeah, by the way, we're working on this, this, and this. But I don't think Jeff would come out anyway and ever really say why he left, because he just respects his team too much, and he doesn't want to try and scupper the work that they're putting in right now. Anyway, let's go back to this, because at the bottom we get this. Now, this is Jeff through and through. He doesn't use capitalization. This is how he types. So he just says, I'm leaving Blizzard Entertainment after 19 amazing years. It was truly the honor of a lifetime to have the opportunity to create worlds and heroes for such a passionate audience. I want to express my deep appreciation to everyone at Blizzard who supported our games, our game teams, and our players. But I want to say a special thanks to the wonderful game developers that shared in the journey of creation with me. Now, this is the bit, right? And then he gives a little quote from Overwatch and whatever. He wants to give a special thanks to the game developers. These are the guys he respects, yeah? They're the guys that he was looking after, fighting for them to get good salaries, fighting for them to have acceptable workloads, allowing them and giving them time to make the products they need to make the games good, right? But it gets a little bit more deeper. So when we go onto Reddit, you see this, and again, you can start reading more into this again. So Jeff comes in and he basically just says thanks to Reddit, both Reddits for Overwatch, just our Overwatch and our competitive Overwatch. And then he says this at the bottom: please take care of the Overwatch team. They are wonderful, caring, and brilliant people, and they need you right now. So that's worrying, right? It's like the game director leaves and goes, guys, they need you right now. So I started to think to myself, well, why are you not still there? Like, what has happened to you, Jeff? Surely you would stay there and try and look after these guys. But like I said, probably just absolutely crushing pressure has just broke the man and he had to go. This was also before the harassment stuff came out, so maybe could have been like foreshadowing for that as well, or just things are going to change, or it could be things are changing in the way the game's being made now, because it's going to become more like Call of Duty, because that's what makes Activision Blizzard money, and that's not how Team 4 is built. This is the other thing with Team 4, right? Think about the game they made, and this doesn't take, again, anyone with a ridiculously high IQ to work this out, or anyone with any game developer knowledge like me. I've got jack shit game developer knowledge. But if you look at Overwatch, right, this is a team that made an arena shooter game, effectively, a hero-based arena shooter game with abilities on a couple of maps with a couple of game modes. That was it. That's not a lot of people, really. So it's not a massive team that's capable of building all of the stuff that Overwatch 2's got in it, all the PvE, all the other mad stuff that's going to be plugged into the game. It just isn't, right? So I'd imagine that they were trying to build that team. Jeff was trying to build that team, and he wasn't able to do it. And as a result, Jeff gets angry. Jeff has to go. But then the new director comes in, and the team's still getting bigger. It's still getting larger, and they've got all these PvE systems and stuff being made. Is this a drop in quality? Is this something that Jeff doesn't want his name attached to, right? So he's thinking, I wanted to make the best thing possible. Remember, Overwatch was Game of the Year in 2016. I think it was the first FPS game to be Game of the Year in a long, long time. Great animated shorts, loads of lore for an FPS game. Just was well made, right? Is Overwatch 2 going to be that? It's a worry, isn't it? So then moving on to other employees. Now, this is Andy Belford. He is the manager of the community manager. He's basically the head of the community for Overwatch, which is great because it's about time that Overwatch got community stuff and actually got up to speed, because it's been 2 years without any kind of like effective community management, which is a shame for Overwatch and definitely for content creators, because I'm not going to go into that rant. But anyway, he says this: the stress, disappointment, and anger of the last few days is only eclipsed by the fact that our entire Overwatch team and its leaders are absolute legends. Because of them, I fully believe that we can build a better ABK even when it feels the most hopeless. So I think the Overwatch team is still a good team. Remember, like, no one was implicated in harassment in this team at all. And they still want to make a good project, a good game. They definitely do, right? The question is now that they're clearly allowing more sort of Activision Blizzard input into what's going on, and is that going to dilute the game down to a point where it becomes not great? We're going to have to wait and see. I may have said in this video that I was not going to go, oh, this was the final tweet of Tracy, but Tracy's just great, and she's been making awesome tweets. This is what I want to show you, because it makes sense in the context of what Andy just said. So, well, the team really wants to make something delightful despite all the noise. The fear of any game team, though, is that their release will be overshadowed by ABK's behavior, which would make all the love they put in moot. It's something we talk about a lot. Now, this, guys, goes straight back to the top of Activision Blizzard, goes to Bobby Kotick being this like toxic cesspool of PR that whatever is going on. In fact, this even happened. This happened the other day. Oh my God. So Hearthstone came out with an expansion. And this was basically on the day the Wall Street Journal article drops, and just all hell's breaking loose. Well, that means the game launch, no one cares about that, because they're all the PR, all the press and everything is focused on the article in the Wall Street Journal. Everything, the shit's hitting the fan, it's going crazy. Now, imagine if you're working on a game that you've worked on for years, and then you launch it, and then it just comes out that there's some other mad craps going on. I mean, Bobby Kotick, the allegations against him are just absolutely insane. I mean, a guy threatening to have people killed, just there's a whole list of stuff that this guy was involved in. It's just unbelievable, like absolutely unbelievable. And it's toxic for the company. It makes the company look bad. Like I said earlier in the video, it stops people wanting to work at your company because they're like, why do I want to work here? It's just negativity from the top. Well, look at this. This is the right, okay. This is the portion of the video we're going to go in on Bobby Kotick, because he needs to be gone in on, because he's wrecking this company. Now, he's made them a lot of money over the years, right? Because the share price of Activision Blizzard has gone up quite a lot. I believe it was $2 when Bobby Kotick was in charge. It went up to $100, so that's a shitload of increase in share price. Now it's down at the moment, but everybody involved in the board has basically been put there by Bobby. Bobby has made them a lot of money over the years, because if these guys were buying shares like sub $10 or being given shares sub $10 by the company, and then they're suddenly worth 10 times more, well, on average, maybe 7 times more or whatever, they're making a ton of money, like an absolutely astronomical amount of money. So Bobby, they love him, right? So how will Bobby leave the company? Well, he'll leave the company if his share price collapses. But it's a lot more difficult than that, because there's a lot of little steps they've got to go on. So the first problem they've had, right, big old Bobby, well, he gets a sexual harassment case slammed against him. Loads of employees come out, start saying, yeah, I've been abused, I've been attacked at Blizzard, it's unreal. Like literally hundreds of people came out saying this, and at Activision as well. I don't think King actually has had any issues, but Activision Blizzard and Activision and Blizzard are much bigger game studios. I think they've got just way more members of staff. I think Blizzard's got like 9,000 employees or something. So this is validated, right? It's not just an allegation. This was happening at the company. That happens, you start getting walkouts, you start getting tons of negative PR, then you get the Wall Street Journal article coming in, you've got mainline developers in your games leaving, like your Jeffs, your Chacos, people like that. It doesn't look great. Your games are also bad. Like Overwatch is bad, right? There's nothing to make. There's no content. It's just bad. It's like, so all of this is suffering because of everything that's been going on from the top down, yeah? This, though, new article pops up. Los Angeles Times, commentary. Activision Blizzard will be forever stained if current leadership stays in place. So we're starting to get a bit of negative PR now, aren't we? Beyond the gaming world, beyond YouTubers and streamers shitting on the guy and the company, beyond like gaming websites doing it. No. You're starting to get it in mainstream media now. Obviously, Wall Street Journal is mainstream media, but that's more like, I guess, financial focus, let's say. Which again, like I said, that's what damages Bobby. So yeah, And also Bobby talking about investors. Bobby basically didn't tell the board what was going on and also didn't tell investors what was going on. So then, they lose money and they get super duper angry. Anyway, let's move on because it gets worse. So PlayStation chief criticizes Activision's response to the crisis. And this is what was said, right? So in an email to employees reviewed by Bloomberg, Ryan linked to the Wall Street Journal's Tuesday report. He wrote that he and his leadership were disheartened and frankly stunned to read that Activision has not done enough to address a deep-seated culture of discrimination and harassment. We outreached to Activision immediately after the article was published to express our deep concern and to ask how they plan to address the claims made in the article. We do not believe their statements of response properly address the situation. Now that's corporate speak, but that is big because that is, you basically got the boss of PlayStation going, "Oi, what are you doing? This looks bad. You look bad. Sort it out. We don't think you are going to sort it out though." That's not great. Because think about Blizzard, right? Oh, well, Activision. Think about Call of Duty. It sells quite a lot on games consoles, lads. It really does. So they're not going to be happy. Now, I don't think there's a world where you see PlayStation go, rip that game off, take it off. Because again, it's money, right? They all want money. They want the major releases. But this is unheard of. A public statement made like that, basically against another CEO in a massive gaming company, is like, that's starting to turn this. The wheels are turning, the screws turning on Bobby, right? These are things that he can't really control because he can control everything that goes on in Activision Blizzard, as we've seen. Even if he gets bad PR, he doesn't seem to care. But when it's external, it's more difficult to deal with. Then look at this, right? Then we get Phil Spencer. He's telling staff, "I'm deeply troubled by Activision Blizzard." I mean, look at this. So Phil Spencer has now told staff he was disturbed and deeply troubled by the horrific events and actions at Activision Blizzard, and that Microsoft is evaluating all aspects of our relationship with Activision Blizzard and making ongoing proactive adjustments. The Bloomberg report is accurate. A Microsoft spokesperson tells The Verge, Microsoft also shared a generic, completely unrelated statement about how Microsoft wants a welcoming and inclusive environment for all of our employees at Xbox. But look at this. We're evaluating our relationship. Now, I don't think this means they're going to say, we're taking all our games off. We're getting rid of Activision games, right? And Blizzard games off our Xbox. They're not going to do that, right? They ain't going to do that. But it might mean they do things like, I don't know. Like when you load up your games console and you get like a big advert and it's like, whoa, Call of Duty, whatever. They may just go, no, we don't want that. Actually, Nintendo did this to Blizzard, and this wrecked Overwatch as well, because Overwatch came out on Switch, and this was around the time of the Blitzchung stuff. Again, another issue Blizzard have had, and that caused a lot of Nintendo didn't want that negative PR, so they basically took the game down off the store. I think they removed its advertising. I think it was still available, but they removed its advertising and basically hid the game, so people didn't know. So if you wasn't into Overwatch and actively looking for it, then you wouldn't know it was a thing. These are things that these teams can do. But the moral of this bit of the video is you've basically got the head of Xbox, the head of PlayStation saying, "Fuck you, Bobby." And Bobby can't do anything about that. And these are major partners that make major money for Blizzard. And, it goes both ways, right? Blizzard and Activision Games sell consoles, and the games consoles, it's a mutual relationship, right? But this is big. This is honestly really, really big. It's something Bobby can't really control. So we're back again, right? We're back again looking at the share price of Blizzard. Now, Activision Blizzard is sitting... Oh, God, I'm coughing. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But it's sitting... now, the grey bit is after hours. So this is... The market's basically closed, and it's just sort of... I think only specific people can trade at this moment in time. Basically, big hedge funds and stuff like that. You can see it's just floundering. It's $62. If we go back and we look 5 days ago, you can see here it was at $71. This is before the Wall Street Journal article hits, and it tanks again, right? And obviously, with all these extra noises we've got being made by PlayStation, by Xbox, the ton of negative PR, it's going to start dropping even more. The question is, how far does this need to go to cause the board to go, Bobby, we need you to leave? Because they're the only people that can get rid of Bobby, right? Bobby ain't just going to go. Like, it doesn't, like, there was share holders came out and they said, oh, we want Bobby to go. But these people held so little shares that it doesn't really matter what they say. The only positive that can come from them coming out and saying we don't want Bobby as the CEO is maybe bigger hedge funds, bigger funds might go, okay, we maybe are going to reevaluate now. And if somebody who holds a ton of shares, like a major investment company, like, I'm not entirely sure who owns Blizzard. You can find it out though, but let's just say, I don't know, Vanguard, right? This is a massive like investment thing. Maybe they own like 10 billion or something. These are just figures I'm making up, but imagine if they own 10 billion of Blizzard stock, right? If they said we want Bobby out, suddenly it's like, oh God, a major investor's telling us we want changes, and that puts a ton of pressure on the board, and then things start moving, right? Again, remember what I said, guys. It's only when the rich people get attacked by the rich people they'll do anything. Me and you and the players of the games and the game devs are just nothing to these people, right? So now we're at $62. The question is, how low does this need to go? Will this go to sub 50? If it does, is that the alarm bell? Sub 40? Oh God. Maybe it goes to $20. I mean, if it did, that's like, oh my God. Now, there are other things going on here with this. The way these markets work is you will have people speculating, thinking, well, how low is this going to go? Maybe they think it drops down to 60. This is a good time to buy because it might go back up to 70, right? Maybe it's going to go above that. Maybe it's going to go back to like what it used to be. I mean, if we look 6 months ago, look at this. We were almost at 100. And then we got hit, I think around about this time here, this time frame, we dropped down from... Obviously, it wasn't at 100 for very long, but it drops down a little bit here. Negative. That's the harassment case coming out. And then it's just been a slow decline. And that's what makes action happen, right? With investors and members of the board and everybody else. This decline needs to stop. Is it going to stop? If Bobby can stop it, even though he's the biggest shithead going, apparently, then it's fine, right? But like I was saying, when it gets cheap, people will just start investing, right? Investment groups might go, oh, you know what, $62 might not be too bad. But here's the thing, will they? Because this is what I'm going to end the video on, right? I know this video has been a bit like, maybe we're going into a bit of detail on things that some of you guys maybe don't care about. But I just think for me, after covering Overwatch for so long and going into this much detail, it's like you get to see behind the curtain of the way the industry, well, that studio works. And you can sort of piece everything together. So look at this. Activision Blizzard stock downgraded as misconduct charges bring a significant amount of uncertainty. Now, what this means is you get analysts that analyze the stock market and go, that company's worth this much. Maybe they might actually show us, right? I don't know whether they do. I haven't really read through the article. Maybe I should have done. But it's the headline that I just want to hit. Because if MarketWatch, which is a website which reports on the stock markets, is saying that analysts are downgrading the price of Activision Blizzard because of negative PR, that's what makes investors start to worry. Because if analysts are going, oh, Activision Blizzard's underpriced, people start buying it and it'll go up the share price and Bobby loves it. But if they're saying, uh-oh, it's actually being downgraded, we don't think it's as good as this, where's it going to go? Where does the negativity stop, right? I think it's going to be very interesting to watch the stock market on Monday. And I will watch it when it opens and I'll see what happens with Blizzard. Do investors come back? If they do, then it probably means Bobby ain't going anywhere. If it still starts to stagnate again and then maybe starts dropping down again and we get more bombshells, more negativity, well, who knows what's going to happen. But I think, guys, we are fans of a game company with the worst leadership in the history of the game industry completely. That needs to change because it is really stifling the passionate developers that are making the games that we enjoy. And as a result, it means we get less content for our games. And even on like a more extreme level, look at me. This is my job, right? I make videos on Overwatch. I like other games as well. And I've really had to be pretty introspective and look at myself and go, do I want to carry on making videos on Overwatch when I could be making Apex Legends videos or Valorant videos? I've got great relationships with those developers and their community teams. I could do that overnight. I could literally just do it overnight. I haven't done it though because I really like Overwatch. And whether that's for good, for better or for worse, I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid for being this sort of... I'm just a fan of this game and I want this game to do well. But all of this crap that's gone on over the years and is now coming to a head, it would seem, has just wrecked the game, caused delay after delay after delay. And I really worry for what's going to happen going into next year for Overwatch. Maybe they backtrack. Maybe they can start giving us content in the game, which I think they probably need to do. Maybe we get a beta. I mean, we know Overwatch League is going to be played on Overwatch 2. So I hope that we can play it before or around then. So, yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. It's been a long one. Now, remember, if you're still here, if you're still here and you want one of my beautiful hoodies, they are available. There is a link in the video description below. And buying these really does help me more than you'll know. It's a really good quality hoodie. It's got embroidery, grey. They only come in black and grey, but I think this is the best combination. It's value because you've always got to try and get value. Bobby's got to try and get value on the stock market as well, apparently, for Activision Blizzard. But yeah, all right, guys. I'll leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know your thoughts below. Do you think we're all doomed, or do you think Blizzard can be saved? And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Toodaloo.